Hello everyone, welcome to my channel and today I am going to start a new chapter of class 12th, that is molecular basis of inheritance. See, the chapter's name itself is telling you that we are going to study about the process of inheritance. As you all know that inheritance is simply the process of the transfer of genetic material from the parents to the offspring, or you can say from one generation to the next. But in this chapter we are going to study about the process of heredity at molecular level, because this is the molecular basis. So which are the molecules, or on which molecular level actually the process of heredity is taking place? This is the thing which we are going to study in this chapter. Okay, so first let me tell you a few things about the classical genetics actually, because when people were trying to know the facts, as for example, if we talk about a very great scientist in the field of biology, that was Gregor Mendel. He is also known as the father of genetics. So he has told us various things about the process of genetics. He told when he came to know during his experiments that some factors are transferred from one generation to the next, but he called the thing as factors, as he was also not clear that basically what are the factors, what is the chemical composition of the factor, what is the, you can say, genetic composition of the factor. These things were not known by the scientist Gregor Mendel. So he just said that some factors are transferred from one generation to the next, and people at that time, they were not having any type of idea about the molecular basis. They didn't think that it can be one aspect of study that we can find out the molecular basis of inheritance also. But gradually there were some more experiments, many experiments were done by some other scientists also, and then they found out that there is a molecular basis of inheritance, and that is basically it is based upon the type of genetic material which is transferred from one generation to the next. Now again the question was there that which is the genetic material, because they were having some information about two things, DNA as well as the RNA. As the experiments were performed by the scientists, it was becoming clear in their mind that they are having the cells are having actually two different types of nucleic acid. First one is DNA and the second one is RNA. But there was a debate in between these two also, that which one is actually the genetic material, whether it is DNA or it is RNA. So if we talk about nowadays, recent times, we have a full proof information about each and everything. We have various machineries which are developed, and by using that we can find out any type of thing which we want to know. But at that time these inventions and new machines, they were not there. So scientists were trying to find out the things only based on the experiments. So I will discuss about the experiments also which was performed by different scientists, how they find out that DNA is the genetic material, not the RNA. So these things also we will discuss in this chapter. But first of all, let's start with the genetic material actually, that is DNA, which is transferred from one generation to the next. And this DNA is basically the blueprint of the life. This DNA is called as the blueprint of the life because it carries the instructions for the genes which have to express the traits actually, which traits will be expressed, which traits will be suppressed. These all informations are carried out by the DNA, and this is the genetic material. This is known. Today we have full information about the DNA. So let's start our discussion about DNA. So DNA, when we talk about its full form, it's deoxyribose nucleic acid. So first of all, we are going to study its structure also. What are the its structure only? What are the constituents which are making the DNA, which are going to make deoxyribose nucleic acid? So Actually, when we talk about the structure of DNA, it is a long chain, or you can say it is a long polymer of nucleotides. So here the question arises that what are nucleotides? So this thing actually I'm going to explain that what are the nucleotides, but here I am telling you about the structure of DNA. So first of all, you have to understand that it is a long polymer of nucleotides. Polymer means you can understand it like this, that the nucleotides are the monomers and they are joining together to form a long polymer that will be called as the polymer of the nucleotides. So the DNA is basically a long polymer of the nucleotides, and the length of the DNA, it usually depends on how many nucleotides are arranged to form it, how many monomers are joined to form a long chain of DNA. So that will decide the length of the DNA, and this particular chain or the length of DNA, it is very unique, or it is the characteristic of the organism. My DNA will be totally different from your DNA. Okay, and these things you very frequently know in televisions, in films also. The DNA test is done to find out very rare or very unique information about any particular generation. So this is very unique thing about an organism. So these things are very important to know about DNA when we are going to study about its structure. So now let's come to its structure actually. And when we talk about the structure of DNA, so basically three things are there which are present in a DNA, or you can say a polynucleotide chain. Actually, when we are going to study about the structure of a polynucleotide chain, so we are going to talk about a polynucleotide chain. So it is basically made up of three different types of things, or three constituents are present in a polynucleotide chain. The very first thing is nitrogenous base. Nitrogenous base is the first thing which is present in a polynucleotide chain. The second important thing is pentose sugar. And the third one is your phosphate group. So these are the three basic constituents of DNA, that is deoxyribose, nucleic acid. These three things are only there which are making a long polymer of nucleotides, you can say. They are going to make this. And first of all, when we are talking about the nitrogenous bases, so they are present in pairs, and this nitrogenous base pair, the number of nitrogenous bases which are present in a particular organism, they are actually you can say that unique characteristic of that organism. As for example, we can see here that the bacteria lambda, it has 48,502 base pairs. This is, its number is fixed. The bacteria E. coli, it has 4.6 into 10 to the power 6 base pairs. So the nitrogenous bases, their number which will be present in any different type of organism, they are already fixed. And the haploid content of human DNA, we are talking about the haploid content. The haploid content of human DNA is having 3.3 into 10 to the power 9 base pairs. So you can just imagine that their structure is very long, because they are having this much base pairs, but they are arranged inside in a way, their packaging is done inside the cell, so that they are arranged in a very limited space inside our body. So these things are very interesting to know about DNA. So let's start from this one, nitrogenous base. When we are talking about the nitrogenous bases, they are also of two different types. So first of all, they are divided into two different categories, purines and pyrimidines. These are the two different types of nitrogenous bases, purines and pyrimidines, and these two groups further include different types of bases. As for example, if we are talking about the purines, they will include adenine and guanine. These are the two nitrogenous bases which are present in this group only, and the pyrimidine has cytosine and thymine. So these two bases, they come under the category of pyrimidines. This is very, very important to know, because these are the bases which are going to form the structure of DNA. These bases actually show pairing, and there is a particular law in the pairing of bases also, that is the thing which we are going to study further in this chapter. But it's very important to know that the two different groups, they contain different types of nitrogenous bases. Purines include adenine and guanine, while pyrimidine includes cytosine and thymine. And the second one is your pentose sugar. Pentose sugar, that means the sugar here which is present, it is ribose. Ribose in RNA actually, because here we are talking about polynucleotide chain. So ribose in RNA, and when we are talking about DNA, it will be deoxyribose in DNA. So this is ribose sugar. Pentose means pentagonal structure, it will show, but it will be ribose in RNA and deoxyribose in the case of DNA. And the very third one, it will be phosphate group. The phosphate group is having negative charges upon them. The phosphate group is basically this group. So it is having negative charge, that's why the DNA itself becomes negatively charged molecule. This is also very, very important to know, because when we are going to study about the packaging of DNA molecule, in that we have to talk about the negative charge of the DNA, or how it is behaving like a negatively charged molecule. That is because of the presence of phosphate group which is having negative charge upon it. So that's why the whole DNA molecule which is having phosphate group, it will behave like a negatively charged molecule. So these are the basic constituents which are going to make polynucleotide chain actually. And this polynucleotide chain, it basically consists of DNA as well as RNA. Here these things are important for the structure of a polynucleotide chain. Okay, and DNA is also a polynucleotide chain. That's why the DNA is having all these three constituents in it. So this was basically about the structure of a polynucleotide chain. Gradually we will come to DNA also, and we will discuss that what are the structures, what are the bondings which are present in a DNA molecule, and this I will cover in the next video. Thank you for watching everyone.